Hey, it's Candy. Did you know that I have a quiz to help coaches choose their niche? Yeah, I do. It's super popular and it has been taken more than 20,000 times. This is a fun quiz that takes you about 2 minutes to do, and it will probably give you way more clarity on choosing your best coaching niche. So now, whether you say niche or niche, it's going to work for you. And if you're a coach and you have been stuck in niche indecision, wondering what to do, then you should take my quiz and find out what you learn. You can take the quiz today at coachnichequiz.com. That's coachnichequiz.com. Okay, let's dive into this week's episode. Welcome to She Coaches Coaches. I'm your host, Candy Motzek, and I'm going to help you find the clarity, confidence, and courage to become the coach that you are meant to be. If you're a new coach, or if you've always wanted to be a life coach, then this is the place for you. We're going to talk all about mindset and strategies and how to, because step by step only works when you have the clarity, courage, and confidence to take action. Let's get started.
Well, I am here with Candy Motzek, host of She Coaches Coaches, for another exciting conversation of what it means to be a coach these days and what are the practical skills Candy can support those people with through their journey of developing a blissful, prospering practice. Candy, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's just great to talk to you.
I love talking to you. So let's dive in with what are the specific challenges coaches are facing these days as far as self-belief and overcoming their own barriers in order to support others?
Oh, boy. I think that really covers it. Like, yes, there's a whole bunch of technological stuff that's on the go. And yes, that's a challenge, but it's also a bit of an excuse to hide behind our fears, right? So the real challenge is always that, do you have enough desire? Do you have enough passion to do something like this? Or are you so scared that you can't step forward? And so it's this deciding, like, there's that story of the two wolves, right? That you've got two wolves in your life and you get to choose which one you feed. Do you want to choose the one that's fear and lack and worry? Or do you want to choose to feed the one that is that wolf that is your higher self and that higher purpose for your life? So we get to choose. So no matter what's going on in the world, whether it's COVID, whether it's an economic downturn, whether it's AI, the biggest thing that we have to overcome is ourselves. We listen to our own voice and decide if that desire and if that mission is strong enough today. And then we get to decide tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day.
And so when somebody's dealing with these on their personal lives, and then they turn around and they're supporting others, How do you address the imposter syndrome with them?
Imposter syndrome is a good sign. Yeah. That's it's the sign that you're still growing. Every time you come up on that place where you wonder, can I do this? Am I a fake? Will they find out that I'm really a fraud? It's just that sign that you're moving in the right direction. And so how can you take that voice and actually, it's kind of like a little child, sort of bring it in close to you. Like, yeah, I hear you. I hear that you're nervous about this, and that you're trying to slow yourself down. You're trying to protect yourself. So, yeah.
What a great reframe. So instead of looking at it as I'm a fake, looking at it as, I'm dealing with these things too. Yeah. What skills am I employing? How can I help others do the same?
Yeah. And I think that, like for coaches, this is the place where we get to practice really deep compassion. We're easy to practice compassion for our clients, right? Like we see them in their wholeness. We see what they could become, but we also forget that we get to practice that compassion for ourselves.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a philosophy that we are supporting people through things that we are also supporting ourselves through. What comes up for our clients is something that's also coming up for us. Have you seen this in your practice?
Every day. The short answer, the long answer, every day, every minute, sometimes, right?
Yeah. Clients are a mirror reflection of us.
Totally.
Tell me a transformation story of a client you've supported through this journey.
Yeah. So just the most recent one, I've had a longstanding client. We oftentimes when I'm working with clients, we work weekly. So I see them every single week when we're going through that sort of the next stage of their journey. She and I had worked together years ago, and then she kept sort of reaching out every once in a while saying, oh, things are kind of stressful. I'd like some help. But then finally back early in February, she sent me this email and she just said, my life is a mess. It looks great on the outside. She's a top salesperson. You would never know that she was having a hard time. And she explained how she was crying every day, that she didn't have anybody to lean on and that everybody leaned on her. And her stress level was like through the roof. She had major stomach issues, couldn't sleep, couldn't function. And so to listen to her then and to get on that very first call with her, just I feel for somebody having such a tough time. But the cool thing is that we worked together over a series of weeks. And just day before yesterday, we had this conversation and I looked at her and I said, look at you. Look at you. And I pulled out that old email and I read it to her and she was like, my God, I can hardly believe that was me. But that's the power of coaching. It's not the power of the coach. It's the coaching itself that sort of allowed her to go back to who she was. And so I said, who are you becoming? And she was like, she kind of looked at me and sort of like, kind of had that face for a while, which is a great coaching face. But then she said, I'm becoming me. I have reclaimed myself. And I mean, like, wow, just wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, to get there, you're having to overcome some mindset blocks. How do you support people in overcoming those blocks?
So it's always, the first step is always awareness. What am I actually thinking? What do I believe about myself? How do I judge others? How am I judging myself? Once we start to be more aware, then you can start to use the tools. I love to encourage people to journal. I've got specific journaling exercises that they can do. The simpler, the better. But so much of it is just having that courage to put pen on paper. People are often really scared to see what's in their head outwritten. It's like it makes it really real. But that's also the place where it gives it the power. So that's always the start.
I agree. Once something is out of my head,
yeah,
I can move on to the next thing.
Exactly.
Pen and paper is so therapeutic.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, the coaches you're with are finding that their unique genius is a niche for them to focus in. How are you helping people get specific on what their niche is and their unique skill set?
Yeah. And so the topic of niche is a real big deal with new coaches. They get really tangled in a knot. Like they want to find that perfect niche. And they think that there's only one. And what they don't remember is that they've got countless niches. So one of the easiest ways that I have found is to allow them to go on their own hero's journey, where they really write the high points and the low points of their life. They see the things that they've overcome. And each one of those places that they've overcome, that's that former version of themselves. And those are the people that there are many of those people in the world right now, and that is one of their perfect niches. So as you're going through your own storyline and what you've overcome in your life, and you go, oh, like in my case, oh, I overcame burnout. I could be a burnout coach. Oh, I've had imposter syndrome. I can be an imposter syndrome coach, blah, 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 right? So all these things, and then you just look at the list. And you have to start with the list and then say, okay, which one of these are wounds that are still not healed? Which one of these are still a little bit raw? That's not my niche right now. I might get there, but that's not now. So you go back, you narrow it down, and then it's a matter of decide. So once we've decided, hey, I've got these 5 things that could be my niche, then we have to decide and commit, and decide and commit, and stay with it, and not stay in this place of always being indecisive and choosing.
So I'm a new coach. I'm figuring out my niche. What are you telling me is the first step as far as building my practice and towards a path of success in that journey?
Yeah. And so the first step is actually not the niche. The first step for a new coach is to get coaching. And so I have a little technique that I call the 5x5, and I encourage new coaches to get started. They find 5 people, they coach them for 5 sessions each for free. Once you've done 25 hours of coaching and you've taken 5 clients through any kind of a journey, you start to really feel like a coach. And it's a little bit, sometimes it's received a little bit like, you want me to coach for 25 hours for free? And I'm like, yeah, it's not for free. It's actually an investment. They're investing their time and energy in you, and you're investing your time and energy in them and listening to every one of those coaching conversations. You take that with your niche knowledge, and now you've created your first program. You know what you're talented in, you know what your skill set's like, and now you've actually watched real people talk to you about what's going on in their life. So you're getting immense value from that time.
The proof of concept.
Yeah.
That you can have these conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And then on the flip side of that, what about coaches getting coaches for themselves?
Yes, that's an always. Yeah, we can't sell coaching if we don't believe in it enough to purchase it for ourselves. And that coaching can be an individual coach. It can also be being part of a mastermind or a peer group. It can also be making sure that you're doing your own self-coaching, again, through your journaling, or even better, all 3.
Love it. Yeah. Let's talk about your podcast for a second.
Okay.
She Coaches Coaches. You're giving the foundational supports for getting going. What is your favorite conversations that you've had on your show?
Yeah. So 2 spring to mind. One was a guest that I spoke with not that long ago, and his publicist, I don't know, media person, had reached out and said, hey, we'd like, to do an interview swap. And I was like, I looked at his picture, and he was obviously very tall and very fit and very alpha looking. And I was like, okay. And so I agreed. And then we got on Zoom to do this interview. And yes, on the outside, he looked like that. But it just taught me such a great lesson about we never really know what a person is like. He was such a heart-centered guy. He had so much wisdom, and he showed up so fully present and so vulnerable. Blew me away, So that is one. And then another is probably one of the very first interviews that I ever did was a client that I had, and she lived in, Bosnia. And so to talk to her about her coaching journey and how she had gone from being she was in corporate banking person, to her love of coaching. But even more importantly was that she remembered to love herself. And I was like, it's the best of both worlds. You get to be a coach and improve your relationship with yourself. So that was, awesome.
And find somebody who can love themselves.
Yeah, right?
It fuels everyone around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What are you most excited for coming up on your show? You have some big, exciting plans?
Any big, exciting plans? Not specifically with this show, but I'm super excited about my new private podcast that I've released. Yeah.
Tell us a little more.
And it's called Unlock Coaching Success. And so it is 7 episodes, 10 minutes or less. It's a little bit raw, a little bit natural. I just turned on the mic and I recorded step by step through my Create framework that I guide coaches through. And I'm excited about that because it's a more of a real conversation. I imagine that it's me really talking to them. And I am just hoping that there's going to be lots and lots of people that sign up, listen, get the benefit of it. And even if they never come into my circle, just the fact that they've learned something and they apply that to becoming the coach they want to be, that'll be great.
And that's a private podcast. How do they access that?
You can get it through the URL candysfreegift.com. You just sign up and it downloads right to your podcast player, and there you go.
Ooh, full of insights.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Candy. One final question. What is something that you wish you knew when you started coaching that you want all new coaches to know?
Don't wait. Just don't wait. I wanted to be a coach for years, and I kept looking at the training and then pulling back. And that would be the one thing. If you're drawn to it, it means it's meant for you, and just don't wait. Just get started.
Amazing. Yeah. Brilliant advice. Thank you, Candy.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening today. Please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Also, I would love to hear from you. Did something that I say resonate? What else would you like to learn about? Click the link in the player and leave a comment on the post. This is going to give me great ideas for future episodes so I can help you best. Join me again next week for more coaching, support, and teaching to help you become the confident coach you are meant to be.